Hi friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you. Today I'm going to be playing with the Artistic Leaves stamp set again. I am in love with this new stamp set. I love the two-step. You'll see how you can alternate colors and really make them look like fall leaves. So let me flip my camera down. I've picked crushed curry for my card base and pumpkin pie for a matte, and then this is basic beige. I'm going to stamp on basic beige. I decided the white was just a little too bright maybe for what I'm going after here with fall colors, but I do have a white insert to go inside, so that's going to be all my stamping. Now I've got, again, pumpkin pie, crushed curry. Oh, I grabbed a bumblebee. That's an old retired color. Let me get my crushed curry because that's really what I wanted. There we go. And then I've got some contrasting colors, Blackberry Bliss, Lemon Lolly, and I pulled out a soft succulent, so there's just a little, maybe a little bit of green. We'll see how this goes together as I start stamping my images. So let's start with pumpkin pie. And I'm going to start with the more full leaf design and do that in orange, this pumpkin pie. And I think I'm going to stick one up here. And I think I want to do a partial in here. Okay. And then I was thinking I would alternate. So again, I'm going to do the inverse. And now I'm going to use that same stamp, but make it crushed curry. And I'm just going to put this at another angle, filling up space. I'm kind of creating my own designer series paper here. So now I'm going to use the other stamp, which is this one right here, and do the opposite. So I'm going to start with the crushed curry and fill it in on the orange. And again, you can see right through this with the photopolymer to line up those leaf tips. I think I've got it right there. Yes. And do it over here as well. How did I do it? This way. Just got to line up. Nope, that doesn't match. Yes, it does. Line it up. Did I do it? Yeah, I went this way. You got to remember which way you turn it when you don't have the whole image there to work with. Okay, yep, it filled it right in. And then clean this and now fill this one in with orange. So like I say, I'm making the opposite. You'd have to really study it, I think. I don't know that anybody's going to glance at it and realize, because they're just going to see, yeah, you might realize that those are very different leaves. Okay, and now I'm thinking I want to add the smaller leaf, but I'm going to use a little bit of the soft succulent. And I'm going to do this in a couple different colors. So I'm going to just gently put, ooh, that's kind of bright. That, and I wanted to put a little Blackberry Bliss in here. So let's add another color. I thought about doing all of this in just two colors and was afraid that was going to be boring. So let me do another soft succulent, but I'm going to stamp this off. I just stamped it over on a piece of scrap paper. I do like that color a lot. So I may do the same thing with the Blackberry. Stamp it off and have one that's just very light. Yes. Okay, so now I need to use the second part to fill this in. And I'm going to add, I'm going to go back and forth, I think, between Lemon Lolly and crushed curry. So I'm going to put Lemon Lolly, which is a little lighter, here with the succulent. And then because it's already stamped off, let's see if that's enough. It's not quite enough color. There, a little more color. And now I'm going to put, tell you what I might do. I'm going to put crushed curry over there. And I think I'm going to add orange. I'm going to add the pumpkin pie. Let's go crazy with colors. These are just fall colors in my mind. So I'm just going to have a little fun creating a fall Yeah, a fall template here. Okay, so that, I also I took my pumpkin pie and die cut with a Spotlight on Nature. And so this is just a circle, and I was going to stick it in the middle here. Now, the other thing I could have done was stamped another leaf. Let's do that. Let's stamp another little leaf. So the question is, what colors? It's going on orange. Let's just do it in the soft succulent stamped off. I think, and I'm going to cut this, I'm going to fussy cut this. And then I'll do this in crushed curry. And just quickly cut that out. Because it's going to be one more piece, but I do want it popped off the paper, off my card base. And this is very easy to cut out because there's just not a lot of edges or anything. So I can do this in just a matter of seconds. In fact, if I cut that loose, it'll go even faster. Around this way, get that little stem. And I have just a little too much paper there. Okay, so you'll see how I'll use that in just a second if what I'm thinking about is going to work. Now, there's a cute little stamp with just these dots. And so I think I'm going to use the crushed curry and just add a little bit of background here. And you can see I'm even stamping off, so some of them are a little lighter, but it just kind of fills it in. That's all I want. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I'm using the Grateful for You. Oh, I thought I had this in my camera view. I'm pointing down here. So this was my background, and here's my Grateful for You. And I'm going to do that in Blackberry. I think that will show up the best on the pumpkin pie. And I'm going to get these out of here because I'm going to need this space in just a second before I start assembling. So here's my Grateful for You stamp. I like this. It can be a thank you card. It's even getting into like almost Thanksgiving season, you know, if you think about it. So I think, you know, there's some options with a card like this without being, you know, overly one holiday or another. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I've stamped this pretty background, and here's what I want to do different. Here comes my stamp and cut and die machine, and I'm going to take this pretty background I just created, and I'm going to run it through the plaid folder and put a emboss this with a texture. So here we go. Oh, I grabbed the machine, but the wrong plates. Let me move that and grab my gray plate. Here we go. I need the gray plate with this almost a 3D embossing folder. It's got a lot of texture on it. And that's why I like it. All right, here we go. There we go, all the way through. And I'm done with that. So now, I'll move all of this out of the way. Now, let's reveal. I have a textured designer paper. And so when I mat this up and add this, I do think, now that I'm looking at this, where's my crushed curry? I'm going to add just a little distressed color along the edges, like this. Just, it's, you know, it's going to be up against the orange on that mat. And so I think, and I can go a little heavier in the corners, you know, if there's not a lot of design down there, I'm just adding that little bit of, like I said, it's almost distressed color. I do like that. Okay, so I'm ready to assemble. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. I've got my liquid glue for my insert. I'm just going to put some dots and then line this up so that it looks straight, which it does not right now. There we go. Get that corner. And so I don't forget, I do want to put Wink of Stella inside and a little bit on the front. Now, because this is embossed and has all this texture, I prefer to use Stampin' Seal. You've got all this zigzag and raised and lowered edges, and I just feel like this holds better. A little bit in the middle just to hold it. All right, and I'm going to square this up. I thought about doing it, on angles, but I just think this paper needs to sing and tell the story. And so this is in my hand, so I'm just going to keep right on going. Okay. And add that. Now, I don't have a pumpkin pie ribbon. That would have been perfect. Where are my dimensionals? They're out because I was, right over here, just off camera. I don't have a pumpkin pie ribbon. Now, I thought Timid Tiger might go, but it's just a little too, it's not as bright in orange, and so I don't think it looked right. So I think I'm not going to put a ribbon on this at all. We'll have to decide. But maybe a few gems, a little bit of bling might help. So I'm just going to kind of stick this in the middle. It's going to kind of cover up some of the stems. Put that on there. I do need one more dimensional because it's going to go with my little leaf here. Now, I just saw a lot of paper revealed. So I'm going to snip this and just get these edges a little closer because it really is going to show. That's just me personally. All right, so now I'm going to put the dimensional on the tip, on the bottom half, and then liquid glue up on the top, because this is actually going to sit on my raised sentiment. And I'm just going to make it falling off this way, contrasting. Okay, so like I said, it does need a little Wink of Stella. So I'm going to put it on some of these contrasting colors and just give this some shimmer. And honestly, now that I'm looking at this, I don't think bling is going to do much for this. Because of the texture and the extra dots in the background, I think I'm just going to leave it. And I kind of like it. Oh, I don't want to say rustic. It's not very rustic, but just kind of natural looking. So here's my card for today. Using Artistic Leaves, two-step stamping, which gives you these beautiful leaves changing color. Grateful for you. I did not put a sentiment on the inside. So you could, write Happy Thanksgiving or thank you for, whatever somebody did for you, but a lot of different options. You could easily string a ribbon across here behind that sentiment if you wanted to. I feel like I just don't need to do that, but if that's what you like, then you do you. So thanks for joining me today. If you like the products and the projects you've seen here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. I'm also on the Stampin' Up! Network. It's Renee Keese at Stampin'Up.net. And Stampin' Up! Has World Card Making Day. It's not just Stampin' Up!, but World Card Making Day is October 4th, and that's coming up. There's going to be a fun virtual event, and they're going to use a kit. So if you want to order that kit and craft along for that hour, it'll make 10 cards, and you'll have a card organizer with it. That's going to be really cool. So stay tuned for the next video. I appreciate you.